Am I my brother's keeper?
Yes, I am.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Yes, I am.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Whenever I'm getting interviewed or I go and talk to kids in schools, a question that pops up a lot is like, who is your biggest inspiration growing up? Who's the person that kind of sparked who you are now? What's your why? What's your reason? And the answer is rather easy for me. And it's my big brother, John Brooks. A lot of my core childhood memories and a lot of the culture that I know and I took in, definitely in the 80s and 90s, was 90% pardon due to my big brother and his influence on me. Now, to give you some perspective, he's 10 years older than me, and we about to celebrate his 50th birthday. And so 10 years, man, that is a large age gap with brothers. You know, especially for brothers who are as close as me and my older brother are. But we share so many of the same likes, and mostly because I had to follow what he was doing because he was the older brother. He always had, control of the remote, control of what we listened to, whatever. He would let me, get my little 1-2 on, sometimes. But for the most part, I had to follow what Big Brother was doing. So a lot of my memories going to Bannister Mall, riding the metro, playing Tecmo Bowl, playing Madden, playing dominoes, watching TV, getting my bike stolen, wrestling, music, movies. All of those memories that built me up are front and center because of my big brother. I remember in 1993, 94, when Doggy Style dropped, and my brother was 18, 19 years old. I'm 8 or 9 years old. This dude played nothing but Doggy Style for at least a year and a half straight. And then immediately when he stopped listening to Doggy Style, he wore that tape out. He got the Da Brat Funkdafied tape and wore that mug out. And guess who was right there with him while he was playing every single song, singing every single lyric? His little brother, me. And, there was a couple of times where I said some things that I shouldn't have said, got in trouble a couple of times. Now, of course, I didn't blame him. It was more so me. And plus, I was already, into MTV and BET and watching music videos and stuff. So I was already into the music. He just, amplified it times a million. And then plus, my brother, he would listen to the radio all the time. And there was a show that used to come on Saturday mornings on Hot 103 Jams. It was a syndicated show called Radioscope. If you was in Kansas City in the 90s and you was of age, you know about Radioscope. It used to come on 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays. I want to say 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday mornings. And, he would call in to Radioscope. One time he called in, talking negative on hip hop with Snoop Dogg and they shouldn't be doing this in front of the kids. Blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, what you up here listening to it? What are you talking about? But, that's just, if you knew John or if you know John, that he liked to make his opinion heard. He, no matter what it is, he wants to make his voice heard and he wants to insert himself into the plot somehow, some way. Not in a negative way, but in a good way. But along with the music, movies and TV was something that I definitely picked up for him. Now we definitely got the same flavor with movies. I'm talking about in the 90s where all the hot black movies was out, the house parties, the Fridays. He took me to go see Friday. I was 9 or 10 years old in 95 and I remember going to Bannister Mall going to see. He took my little brother Jared. He took our little brother to go see the Players Club when Jared was 7 or 8 years old, and that came out in 97 or 98. But man, John used to take me everywhere with him on the weekends. Mama, she would give us $20. And with that $20, we would be able to ride the metro. We needed 2 transfers, one for me, one for him. We needed to get something to eat. At that time, a value meal was only it was less than $4. So that's $10, or a meal for him, a meal for me. So what? That's $12. And then the movie tickets back then, I think, were $3.50 or so. So, and then we might have had enough money at the end of that to get some nachos to share or something like that. But a lot of times we would go to the movies on the weekends in the 90s. We would go bowling at War Parkway. We would go to Cool Crest all the time and Independence. I mean, my big brother, he really treated me well. When really he could have been hanging out with other people, because he had a couple other friends that were around his age, but they was out doing way more mature stuff that he was doing. Like one of his homies, Lester, had a baby when he was 18 or 19. So yeah, I can't imagine having a 30-something-year-old nephew right now at all. But with radio and my big brother and how he used to listen to it, that is what influenced my career. That is what gave me the knowledge and confidence to know that I can go into it and I can do it. No matter what circumstance I had to go into, no matter what I had to learn, no matter what skill set I was lacking, it was because of how we used to listen to the radio all the time that I know what they're doing without anybody even saying anything to me. And we used to listen to this show called Club Jams that used to be on Hot 103 Jams on the weekend. It was a mix show that used to came on back in the 90s and 2000s on Hot 103 Jams. It was on Fridays and Saturdays. And me and John, during the mixes, we used to just play this little game where we would guess what song is coming up next just based on the beats and what we would hear or whatever. You know, those are just some of the little games that we used to play with incorporating radio into our weekend nights, man. And we used to play a little name that tune little situation with Club Jams, man. That was so fun to do with him. But besides all of that, though, the more important thing and the focal point of why my big brother is my inspiration is because of what happened to our family on March 9th, 1988, when my older brother got his cancer diagnosis and he had a brain tumor at the age of 12 years old. And, you know, I was only 2 years old. But I do have some memories, some very vivid memories from that time in our life. And I remember specifically at Children's Mercy Hospital where my brother was admitted and getting his treatment. You know, I used to climb in his bed with him, you know, whenever I was there with him. And, you know, just hang out with him, hug him, you know, talk to him. Because we missed him at home. And those are some of the earliest memories that I have. And they're very, you know, they're kind of bleak. They're not very, very, you know, clear. But there are some, I would say the memories are in pictures, not necessarily video in my brain, if that makes sense to anybody. Like I can see what was happening, but I can't really, you know, see frame by frame what was going on, if that makes sense. But I remember being in the bed with him, and I remember how sick he used to look. And the pictures that we have now help, you know, frame those visuals as well. But it was a bad time. He used to throw up a lot. You know, seizures. And it was a lot for a 12-year-old boy to have to handle. It was a lot. And if you know the Children's Mercy Hospital logo, it looks like it's like two kids helping each other, or maybe an adult helping a kid or something like that. But I always looked at that Children's Mercy logo and I saw me and John. Always. Just helping each other. and being by each other's side. And from that day on, we, besides me going to college or, whatever, we've never left each other's side. Never. He's been with me through every circumstance I've had. He's been with me through every achievement I've had. He was the one that was with our father when he died, and I had to come down and see what was going on after I heard his screams, my brother's screams. But one thing that stood out about John was, and growing up, it was kind of confusing too, was like how other people treated him, specifically people in our family, like our grandma Brooks. And she would make Jared and I do all the other work. So, sweeping up the floor, cleaning the dishes, vacuuming, all the manual labor around my grandmother's house. But John wouldn't do nothing. And there was always an understanding of that. It was always an understanding with me and my little brother with how John was treated, specifically with our grandmother, because we knew that John had went through something really special and really traumatic, really life-changing. And that cancer did change his life. He was unable to drive. It's like he fully didn't grow into the person that he was supposed to be, I guess. But then you look at it and it's like he's right where he need to be. Because he is where he is because God has him where he is. But my grandmother would, tell us, you got to take care of him. My daddy told us, like, y'all going to, y'all just going to take care of John when I'm gone. And we do. And we have. I've always had to, kind of look after him. And, he looked after me, of course, when I remember when I got my bike stolen. When I was 7 years old, it was about 92 or 93. I got my bike stolen, and John went over there, got my bike back. One of these people around the corner, these little rascals, these little 13, 14-year-olds taking my bike, but my older brother got it back for me. But John will fight to the finish for you if he love you. He will stand the ground with you that you walk on, side by side with you. It's like a blind loyalty. And my big brother has done so much for me in my life. And I try to tell him that all the time. I let him know, like, look, man, without you, there's no Brian B. Shynin, there's no Brian Brooks. My brother prayed for me. Like, he got tired of being by himself for so many years. I told you, we're 10 years apart. And he told my mother to, like, hey, can you go to black adoption and adopt the kids? It's, you're not having another one, or spoke too soon. Had one in 85, for better or for worse. But he prayed for me, though. And I always tell him, like, man, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even be here, bro. Wouldn't be here. And he is my ultimate inspiration to be my very best. For so many reasons. Because he got up and he went to work. He didn't let his limitations stop him from being the man that he is. And if you know John, you know my brother, he was very prideful. Extremely prideful, dog. He wanted to prove so much that if you could do it, I could do it. I'm a man just like you. And he will always have my utmost respect and love and appreciation for that, because it trickled down. And some of the things that he indirectly taught me and my younger brother Jared are invaluable, especially in today's society where people don't stand for nothing. But there has been, a couple setbacks with my brother, as he suffered a stroke, a couple years ago that has led to him not being as mobile as he used to, and has transformed me into being, kind of a caretaker. But as I celebrate my brother's 50th birthday, it's it's a special, special, special occasion, especially when earthly people, earthly doctors told him that he wasn't gonna live that long. And what do you know? 30 something years later, it was 37 years later, he's still here, still inspiring his brothers, still being a John Brooks we all know and love. So that's a very special, special man. That's a very special person to me. The the gas to my car that keeps me motivated and keeps me moving. Along with I have several other motivations, but John is up there near the top. So as we part ways, as I say goodbye to my big brother every time that I leave his side, we always go back to one of our Brooks family classic movies that is a staple in our house, which is New Jack City. I think that's probably John's favorite movie, New Jack City. And I always dap up and ask him, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And forever and a day, yes, I am. Happy 50th birthday, John. I love you so much, dude.